Hi, my name is Eric Zuka. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'll be going over the four-stringed electric bass beginner glossary from Jeff Berlin's bass mastery book. So when you get this book, if you haven't already gotten the physical copy, you get this printout with it. So I'm gonna go through this for any of you out there who've already decided that you want to learn how to read music and what the best way of it is going about it is. So welcome to my channel again. I'm gonna go over it. Feel free to pause this, go get something to drink, get a pencil. This will be the format that I continue to use in the next few lessons. And so the book, again, I'll show this again. Jeff Berlin's Bass Mastery, a complete reading course for beginners. And this will be a part of a series on learning to read music for bass guitar. And the goal is simply helping bass players build strong foundations in music reading. And like I was saying earlier before, and I want to emphasize and say again that it's for beginner bassists looking to learn music reading. Like, I know there's a debate out there, and a lot of people think you don't need to learn music, and that I agree with that. You don't, but this is for people who have decided at this point in their musical path that they're ready to be serious about reading music. So welcome again. I'm just saying this because, again, I know that there's a huge debate out there as to whether or not, and I'm not gonna, that's not what we're here for. We're here to learn basic, fundamental skills in reading bass clef. And this is for beginner bassists. It's for professionals, enthusiasts committed to practicing daily. 15 minutes to an hour. I'm practicing an hour a day. I do 15-minute timed segments. And I get in 4 of those a day, ideally. Sometimes I fall short. Sometimes I only get 2 or 3. But again, this is for those of us who are at that point where we have the time in our day. The discipline thing isn't an issue. We're not procrastinating. We're really looking at how to best use our time. And so far as practicing the bass for efficiency, as far as growth and demystifying the bass neck and understanding how to read music and how that relates to music theory, which relates back to the bass. And so beginner bassists, professionals, enthusiasts, someone that wants to get back into reading, someone like me that started in the orchestra, learned how to read on the double bass, but then you go to the electric bass and you realize, wait a minute, this is a different instrument altogether. Any of you out there that fall into that category, this will be really good for you. So you know you have a fundamental foundation of how to read, but it's been a minute. And you're at the same point as, say, a beginner. You're thinking, well, I need to really start reading more, to get to the next level. Okay, so we're going to discuss the beginner glossary. I'm going to go over the 5 recommendations. Number 1, no metronome. Tap your foot or count out loud or internally. Again, this is not a platform for debate. If you want to debate whether or not using a metronome is a good call or not, feel free to do it somewhere else. I don't really want to entertain that here. Again, this is for someone who's like, "Oh, really? Cool. I've been practicing with the metronome my whole life, and you're saying not to. Okay, let me check this out." So if you're into the possibility of not playing with the metronome, you've come to the right place. If you're one that wants to argue about why you should use a metronome and this is hogwash, wrong place. Okay? So no metronome. Tap your foot. I use my right heel most of the time. And I do count out loud. I don't really count out internally. Or tap your foot or count out loud or internally. Number 2, fix mistakes immediately. Review what you have fixed. So if I'm going through here and I go from the open E to the 1st fret and there might be a buzz, or I go to the 3rd fret, or I go to any mistake, just step back. It's okay to make mistakes. That's part of the deal. That's why we practice. Better to make mistakes while you're practicing than when you're performing or recording. And reviewing what you fixed, that's kind of like just repeating, thinking about, okay, well, the technical aspects or the reading, I missed it. I thought it was an F, but it's actually an E. Just little things. Just think about it for a minute. Maybe if you have a journal, write about these things. Practice 15 to 30, number 3, practice 15 to 30 minutes at a day. Never practice until it feels stressful. So if practicing is causing any pain after a couple minutes, then I would suggest you stop playing. And that's a whole nother issue that I would love to talk to you about on how to get rid of pain when practicing. Something I had to tackle a year ago. Take breaks. Number 4, take breaks. Learning is best done in small doses. So like I was saying at the beginning, I do a timed 15-minute practice session. I'm using the timer on my phone. I just ordered a timer on Amazon for one of those sand timers, so I don't have to rely on my phone or have my phone in my space when I'm practicing. So you can use a timer that you get. You can use like a cook's timer that you would use in the kitchen. My mother used to set the dryer and the timer in the laundry room and made me stay in the laundry room, believe it or not, and practice, because she was writing a check each week for lessons and she wanted me to practice. So thanks, Mom. But there are alternatives to using a dryer timer. It's 2025, not 1985. All right. Lessons are written. I'll go. All lessons in bass mastery are in 4/4 in the key of C. I hope you guys are still with me. Again, if you want to fast forward, I'm going to be getting into all of this, but I really just want to go over this. I really want to kind of introduce myself to people that are serious about learning reading music. I'm doing a long form video for those of us who have that attention span to listen to someone as boring as me, monotone. I'm not trying to be exciting. I'm not trying to do anything crazy. I'm just focusing on music, academic music, so that like me, if you work on these consistently over time, it really does help you improve and grow as a bass player. I could really, really like to, hammer down on that point. Hence the reason you're here watching. So lesson 1, we're going to go through whole notes with string names, note names, fingerings. Lessons are written in whole notes. These are the whole notes right here, played on the E, A, D, and G string. So if you're first starting and don't know anything or you haven't bought a bass, this is the E, A, D, and G string. And as you read music, you're going to learn the corresponding notes on the staff that correspond to the notes on the neck of the bass. That's F, F sharp or G flat, G, you know, all the way, so on and so, open G. So each fingering, note name fingering. Okay, so note name down here is A. That's the A string. Okay, oops, let's get that back in frame here. So the numberings are the recommended fingerings. F, 1, G. This is on the E string. Okay. Okay, so E, F, G. Open E. 1 corresponds to your first finger, F, and then G. Okay. Good boys do fine always is the acronym that we use. That's the one I was taught in high school. You can make up one for you, but that first line on the bass clef is a G, which corresponds to the 3rd fret on the lower E string, open E string. Okay? If this isn't clear to you, stop, rewind, go back. If there's any words that I say and you go, what's he talking about? What are you talking about? Google it. E string, Google, E string, bass. You know, F, 1st fret, G, 3rd fret. I'm using my 4th finger here, so this 3 is simply a recommendation. It would be like that. And that's just so that when you get up to playing that next fret, which we're not doing here because it's only going up to the 3rd fret here, F, B, F, C, and G, all right? Okay, moving on. Going off a list here, so just bear with me when I there's pauses or gaps. So this whole glossary, just its simple intention is it simply provide helpful advice for new readers. We talked about the no metronome earlier, and you just want to kind of like, if a metronome would be going 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to just go right into this here, E, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4. So it would be something like that, right? And then slowing it down, or none at all, okay? Just going and going E, open, and looking at that ledger line below the G is an E, F, G, okay? You can Google ledger line if you're just starting. E, that's a low open E string. It's the lowest lowest note I can play unless I were to tune it down, which I'm not gonna do right now. All right, F, G, all right? So, if you make a mistake, then just make note of it mentally. Go back, don't be hard on yourself. Everyone, no matter how good you are, how long you've been playing, is gonna make mistakes depending on what they're working on. But these are so easy that, you know, there are no mistakes. if you're sitting down and you're giving your best to playing these as a beginner, or you're getting back into learning these, good for you. And we'll do this line one more time, and then I'll do these next two just for the hell of it. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, E, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4. I'm counting a little fast. 4, B, 2, 3, 4, C, 2, 3, 4. And it's moving, right? 2, 3, 4, and then jumping up to the D, open string, T, 4, E, 2, 3, 4, F, 2, 3, 4. Whole notes get 4. 4 beats per measure, 4, 4. We're in 4, 4. Okay? And then last line is the open G, 2, 3, 4, A on the 2nd fret, 4, B. Oh wait, that B goes up to that 4th fret. Okay, so that's the first time that we go up to the 4th fret, because that's a B natural. All right, so that's pretty much it. You can, if you're not counting, and you just want to be present as much as you possibly can with each note as you're starting out or getting back into it, that's a great exercise. I mean, to play just each note till it rings out. Talk about a patience, attention exercise. Still going. Still going. Okay, now it's pretty much gone. I'll go to the next note. We're playing out of time. Up to the G. All right, so long, drawn out notes. Full on, okay? Nothing wrong with playing long, drawn out whole notes, as much as everybody wants to play super fast, and nothing wrong with one note, long. Get into technique, see that buzz that's happening on the frets because my finger wasn't. So that to me is a little bit of a mistake. Thinking about it, just going back over it. That sounds very good. All right. I mentioned earlier practicing in small doses. If you sit down and practice for 1 minute and have to get up, and that's all you do, that's better than nothing, right? Of course, we want to go longer than that, but the point being is that sometimes the hardest thing, if not all the time, is the getting to where I'm at right now, sitting down. For me, it's Sunday. I have the day off. I'm not working today, so I have no excuse. My football team won last night. No games on today. So I can sit down and focus. I've been wanting to do this video for a few days, and I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna get practicing onto what I need to practice, okay? Taking breaks between 15-minute timed, or if you practice for 5 minutes and you want to practice for like 30 minutes and you're just taking 2 or 3 hours to practice 5 minutes, then you go and you clean up, or you go walk your dog, or you come back. The trick is coming back. A lot of people might disagree with that, and that's okay, but just this kind of idea that you're structuring in time how long you're practicing for, and not just being totally open, blasé, laid back about, well, I just practice whenever I want to practice. That's cool if you're putting in like 8 hours of practice or like 4 hours of practice a day. But if you're just starting to getting into the habit of practicing consistently each day, then the idea is to think about time chunks. For me, that's 15 minutes a pop. After 15 minutes, my focus starts to wane. I'm spacing, I'm looking around, like not many of the songs that I'm gonna play on stage or recording are gonna be 15 minutes long. So for me, that's a really great long time for me to be able to like focus energy on the bass as much as I possibly can. So if I play like a 3-minute or 5-minute song, it's a nice exercise to just pay attention to reading music for 15 minutes. Relaxing your hands is very important. Like there's this tendency to give it the death grip. You know, let me see if I'm on there. Yeah, like to really squeeze, but you just basically want to press down as lightly as possible until you get this tone. So whether I press even more, it's not going to change that tone at all. So just relax while you're going across the frets. Watch where you put that thumb. You know, if I'm up here, it's not as good for me physically as it is to bring my thumb around and have more of an open. Nothing wrong with playing like this, but it's kind of like poor posture. All right, I'll have to do another video on the left hand and neck. This is just, I'm getting off subject here. I just want to keep on this. We were talking about playing lightly and not putting too much pressure. Relax your hands to avoid injury. Do not overstrike the strings or press the frets too hard is the point. Okay. And these notes, basically, we were talking about it earlier. I'm going to just go over the structure of the notes that are played on the E, A, D, and G strings. And then just going over again like we did earlier, this open E to the first fret is the F, to the G is the 3. So we're just going, there's no second fret in there. That would be an F sharp or a G flat. And that's another lesson for another day, because then we have to get into a little bit of music theory and accidentals. We're in the key of C. That's more music theory for you later on. You can Google key of C in music. No sharps, no flats. What are sharps and flats? Those are accidentals. What are accidentals? So that's this logic that's going on in music that your intellect and mind has to kind of warm up to, so that when you're playing creatively, those can activate through just nature and being creative and being in creative zone and all that good stuff. But practicing's different, right? Practicing's more mental, intellectual, in a good way. All right, we went over E, the E string. A string, basically, these are the same exercises for each string. A to the B to the C is open A, O string, O, open string, A. B on the second finger, second fret. And then C, they have a 3 there, which is for third finger recommended, but it's also third fret. And then I tend to bring my 4th finger in there, which is from my upright bass training. But that can limit me. Like, if I'm going to use that and keep going like that by using 4 fingers here, I'm way off screen. Okay. Using these 4 fingers is kind of, you don't have to shift your hand. Again, that gets into technique. That would be something that we could talk about in a private lesson. So this is basically a, a beginning guide, and it's just the beginning format of the most basic principles of reading bass clef for the bass guitar. Could also apply this to a lot of other instruments that read off a bass clef. It would just mean that, like, if we were doing trombone, the way that this E is played on the trombone obviously is different for that instrument. Cello, be interesting to know where this low E is played on the cello. I know the cello is in bass clef for the most part. These are just things, again, getting into the holistic, total picture of music and musicology, music theory. Musicianship is just learning all these things that naturally will be overwhelming in the beginning, and over time don't seem as overwhelming as you commit to practicing and studying this stuff each day. So it's just a basic starting with one string at a time, the low E, which is this top string up here on the bass, and the A string, second to the top, D, third to the top, G, the smallest string, and down on the either the fourth string or the first string, depending on how you're counting. This one comes up to the fourth fret, fourth finger, pinky, and that's a B natural. So this basically gives you the first 3 frets on each of the first 3 strings, and then on the G string, these 3 notes go from the open G to the A to the B on the 4th fret. So once you get to know this, you'll be able to read music in one position plus another, so 2 positions altogether, even though the majority of them are in one position. And these positions, you can Google positions on the neck. They go up as you go up the neck. Half, first, second half, third and a half, on up. And then of course there's 1, first, second, third, fourth fret. Positions, I'm going back to my upright verbiage, so you can apply that to here, but maybe you don't have to. All right, so that's basically it. No metronomes, fix mistakes, practice 15 to 30 minutes a day, never practice, and if it feels stressful, take breaks. Learning is best done in small doses. Relax your hands. I'll have to do a video on the different stretches I do, but you can Google hand stretches for guitarists. Okay, you want to loosen up your muscles, get the circulation going, give it a massage. I do oil massage. Stretch each finger, the wrist, hand. All of these are all of this in here and more are working with the music, objectively, physically. This is also mental and intellectual, but it's perceptive. It's all about leading to more perception, awareness of musical qualities, fundamentals, shapes, tones, intervals, the space between the E and the F, the difference between that and the G. If we were to get into that, that would again get into more music theory as far as intervals and the gaps between. If we were on a piano, I could play the E to the F to the G. So, if you've watched up until this point, congratulations, because I'm kind of purposely making these boring and not really that great production. I hope you hear my voice okay. The heater's not going, but it's kind of like a test to see where in my audience, if there is anyone who is that serious about what I'm talking about, that would be able to see past my flaws, my videos, weaknesses. They're only going to get better from here. I just want to get this content out there. I want you to hear my voice. I want you to know that you can trust me, that I know this stuff. If you want to take a lesson with me, or if you want to talk to me, or if you want to email me, feel free to email me at S as in Sam, C as in cat, Z as in zebra, UKA @gmail.com. My name is Eric Zuka. Thank you very much for watching, and happy practicing.